So, your in-laws are about to visit.
Yes, I know, and I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Yeah, I know, you're probably tripping. For decades, you've been trying to get them to like you, get them to not hate you, get them to notice that you do things correctly, what have you. You have just had the most difficult time dealing with these cats.
Yeah, why is your dad always looking at me like he wants to stab me in the throat with a kitchen knife? What is that about? What I do? What's going on? Why he hate me?
And you've probably tried a bunch of things over the years. You've invited them over for events, you've given them gifts, you invited them over for holidays.
Yeah, this dude over my house is Thanksgiving. He got a knife in front of him, which is already tripping me out because of what I said before. But then he's wanting to carve my turkey. It's my turkey. It's my house. You want to carve my turkey in my own house? What the?
Now, trying to figure it out has made you want to pull your hair out. You've gone crazy. I get it. It's confusing. You don't know what to do, but you did the right thing. You came to class. Balance of power. I got you covered with today's lesson. How to win over your in-laws. Let's get it in. So this is going to be a quick list of 4 things to help you figure out what to do with your in-laws so that they love you in the end. It's not going to be perfect. This is just a small list that's going to help you put a dent into that hard, thick shell of them hating on you, if that is the case. And even if you have a pretty good relationship with your in-laws, these are things you should be doing. And I'm going to be going in reverse order with these 4. So, number 1 is the most important job you need to do. But let's begin. Number 4. Yes, I know. Number 4. Get to know them. Now, that seems like average, normal, but you'd be surprised how many people do not know their in-laws. What I mean is that, yeah, you might know their name and maybe you know what they do as a job, but you should find out about who they are on an in-depth plane. Basically, ask them questions that you would want to know if you're doing like a book report or some kind of an investigative report on these cats. Find out, how did they meet? How did they grow up? What was their favorite thing that they did in school when they were kids? Find out about each one, them as a couple and each of them individually, meaning your father-in-law, find out about him as an individual, your mother-in-law, find out about her as an individual, and then find out about them as a couple. I'm telling you right now, finding out about who they are as individuals, that part alone, that's going to go a long way for them to start seeing you as a person. If you start finding out about who they are, when really, if they've been a couple for a long time, a lot of people just see them as this. They don't even interact with them as a individual unless maybe they're at work. But if they are your in-laws, they might be retired at this point depending on how old you are and how long you've been in a relationship with your girl or your man. The fact is, you asking questions about them as an individual will have them thinking about you of, oh wow, he's asking about me or she's asking about me. They want to know about like what I did when I was a kid, how I grew up, and how I decided that this is going to be my job. If you ask good enough questions, you'll start to learn your mother-in-law and your father-in-law better than your own spouse. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to start to love you for it, because they're going to think that you care about them as a person. And when you care about them, if you show them how much you care about them, they're going to start to care about you. And that's the goal, right? Number 3. Don't get run over. Now, what I mean by don't get run over is that you need to remember that this is your relationship. This is your marriage. This is you being together with you and your spouse, you and your girl, you and your man. If you're a guy or a girl watching, you get what I mean. Point is, this is what you need to be worried about. The in-laws, whether it's your mother and father or her mother and father, they have their own agenda about what they want and how they want relationships to operate. But they're not the ones in your relationship. You need to know and remember that your job is to leave your father and mother and cleave onto your spouse. This is who you with. So if you start getting confused about, well, my dad says this or my mom says this, remember, that's the question. Who you with? You sleeping with your mom or you sleeping with your girl? You sleeping with your daddy or you sleeping with your man? Who are you with at the end of the night? Who are you with at the end of the day? This is your new set, your new family, and you need to not be run over by their wants and their needs. Now, how is this going to help them like you? As long as you're doing number 2 and number 1, which we are going to talk about next, as long as you're doing those two, they're going to respect the fact that you are keeping your family that you have made with your spouse as the number 1 thing. They're going to like the fact that you're keeping it together. They're going to respect the fact that you are someone who their child is with, who's not weak, who's not being pushed around by anybody, not even them. Now, there will be some parents who don't like it, and of course, lots of parents are not going to like it. But there's things that happen as a parent where you might not like certain things that your child chooses to do, but at the same time, you respect the strength that they have chosen to do it even against you. As long as it's something that's not too crazy or too outlandish or too far away from whatever morals and values that they've raised their child with. As long as it's not too far, they're going to like the fact that their child is an individual. And they're going to like the fact that their child is with someone who is either A, an individual themselves, or B, facilitates that. And when I say individual, I mean that they're not going to be crushed, pushed around, or bossed by anybody, not even the parents. They're going to be like, yeah, I don't like the fact that they made me take off my shoes, but that's their house, and you know what? At least she's not married to a pushover. There's going to be a part of their brain that respects the fact that you're not getting run over. Number 2. Now, number 2 seems to fly directly in the face of number 3, because number 2 is to respect their customs.
Okay, you gonna need to explain that, because you said, like, don't get pushed around, don't get run over, and now you talk about respecting their customs like I'm supposed to be doing what they say, but you told me not to do what they say, so what are you saying?
Yes, I know. Like many things in life that are difficult, it's gonna be a tightrope. It seems to fly in the face, but it doesn't really. Now, a way to easily define when you listen to their customs and respect their customs and follow their customs, and when you don't get pushed around and don't get run over, is whose territory are you at? Are you at their house? Are you at your house? Is this your Thanksgiving at your crib, or is it the family Thanksgiving at their family home? If you're at their family home, then yes, when in Rome, you gotta do what they do. You gotta follow their customs even if it makes 0 sense, because you not respecting their customs make them feel that you don't care not only about them as people, but they're going to feel like you're going to crush the culture, the customs, the whatever that's baked into their child who you are with. And they don't want their child to have to sacrifice anything unless that child chooses it on their own. And yes, I keep saying child. This person might be 45 years old. Your husband or your wife, fact is, to that parent, they're always going to see them as, that's my baby, that's my child, that's my daughter, that's my son. Why are you making them not follow these things? And they're going to think it's you. Even if your spouse has chosen not to follow or do certain customs, they're going to think it's your fault that's why it doesn't happen. Especially if when you go to whatever holiday, whatever function or whatever at the family home and you don't follow the customs, you don't do it, and then they come to your house with the two of you together and they see again that the customs are not followed at all, they're like, oh, they're going to blame you. So make sure you're respecting their customs when you're in their house. Because again, that's their house.
I mean, I could see if it was a real. If you lost your hoe to T.I., I'd be like, hey, that's T.I. But Usher.
And the other thing about following their customs is you might find out something that you enjoy. You might find something you like. You might not have done it in your family or your house before, but if you do it and then later you experience whatever and you ask your spouse, hey, you grew up doing this and this is how it felt for you, like, why don't we do that in our house? I actually liked the tea ceremony. I actually liked gefilte fish. I actually liked whatever it is that for you is new that you've experienced. Ask them about it. And maybe they might have felt pressured without you even trying to push it on them to change this thing. Meaning your spouse might have not done this cultural thing, this custom that they were used to growing up with, simply because they know that you didn't do it. So, the very thing that the parents might be worried about might be inadvertently happening because you haven't had that conversation with your man, with your girl. So, another little bonus by following those customs when you're in their house. But again, if it's your house, it's your customs. That's the line. Whose territory? Number one. Number one is the most important because number one is the one that people fall down on the job on the biggest, the most times. This is the biggest percentage of what people do wrong and why in-laws don't like you.
There could be a myriad of other reasons as to why they don't like you, including them just being haters, but this is the main thing.
Number one is do your job. This is the number one thing because this is the number one thing that parents want from whoever's gonna marry their kid. They want to know that their spouse, this new person, is going to be taking over their job. Meaning, if it's a dad and he's giving away his daughter, he wants to know that the new dude is going to take his spot. This new dude better protect her as well or better than I do. He better provide for her as well or better than I do. He better make sure that she's as happy as she possibly can be because, making women happy, kind of impossible. Ladies, don't hate. It's true. Point is, you want, as a parent, for this new person to do the job. Can you do the job of husband? And it's the same on the other side. If you're a wife, your mother-in-law is looking at you like, hey, can you take care of my son? If he's hungry, are you going to feed him? If he's hurt, can you heal him? What are you doing? Why aren't you doing that? Are you doing it enough? She's going to be gauging how well you cook. She's going to be looking at, well, he looks thin. I don't know if you feed him enough. And wow, his skin is a little weird looking. You need to buy different kinds of moisturizer for him. She wants you to take care of her son. Can you make sure that he's put together? Can you do the job as well as she did or better?
Now, to be honest, there is a little bit of a weird jealousy thing where mother-in-laws sometimes like the fact that you take care of their kid, their son, but they also don't like the fact that you take care of their son better than them. They want you to, but then they're mad, and they want you to, and they're mad. So that's just a thing you gotta get around. Yeah. The best thing, though, is to err on the side of taking care of their son. So do that.
So why is this one of the biggest things that people fall down on the job on? That's simple. Right now, society and Hansel,
that Hansel's so hot right now,
says it's real hot right now to act like it's wrong or bad for you to take care of your spouse in these parental type ways, which is really spouse type ways.
What you mean by that?
What I mean is that there's a bunch of people who are too worried about, I don't want to be his mama, so I'm not going to do that. If he needs somebody to take care of him, that's his mama. That's not me. I'm not her daddy. She wants me to pay off all this debt and all kinds of stuff. I'm not him. Like, if she wants a parent, why she get with me? It's like this. If you don't want to pay your lady's bills and fix her broken items, then don't be a husband. Stay your ass out the game. And if you don't want to nourish your man by giving him food and encouragement and take care of him by taking care of his emotional and physical scars, then don't be a wife. Stay your ass out the game. Because none of you should ever forget that marriage It's a job. It's one of the hardest jobs you're ever going to have. It has a job description that goes with it. And your in-laws are watching to see, are you fulfilling the job description? Because the fact is, especially right now, if you got kids, you already know you want the best for your child. Even a whack parent who sucks at their job still might want their child to have good things. They might suck at giving them that child good things, but if someone else is going to come into the picture, they want that child to have good things, the best. So are you the best person for that person's child? Because basically you've got their lives in your hands. How are you handling it? Are you doing your job?
Dennis, our lives are in your hands and you have butterfingers?
So if you hate being hated on by your hateful in-laws, do you need to hate anything that keeps you from doing your job? Now that's today's lesson. Now, if you found value in this, and I know you did, throw those thumbs. Do what you're supposed to do. Slap up that subscribe button so you can get the algorithm all juiced and lovey-dovey and sending these videos directly to your YouTube feed. Now, if you're really good, you know what to do. Slide this video to somebody who needs to hear this message. Now I know you love these lessons, or else you're gonna hear gold bars of knowledge dropped on you on the regular. Nowhere. And that's exactly where you're gonna go. You coming right back because you ain't going nowhere.
Where you going? Nowhere.
So come on back and click on another one of these videos and get some more learning in. But until next time, no. Deuce deuce.